What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Scroll Cup featuring a shiny Shadow Shiftry that was buffed this season with Foul Play, except I'm actually not running it with Foul Play at all, and instead I'm running it with the coverage move of Hurricane to hit back against Shiftry's hardest counters for at least neutral or even super effective damage in some cases. Now I ran two slightly different triple Shadow teams, the first one being the one that you can see on the screen right now, but I didn't really enjoy for Alligator, so eventually I swapped it out for my level 51 shiny Shadow Nuzleaf, and I also didn't really enjoy that either. I mean, I have to say, this cup is just so boring and I cannot wait for it to be over. But then again, for the most part, I didn't really enjoy the Open Great League during the first week of the season either, so not really sure what to do about that. Maybe I am just a bit burnt out. But anyways, let's get into the question of the day. How do you prevent/cope with burnout from playing in the Go Battle League? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Let's go into the first battle, leading shiny Shadow Shiftry into a shiny Araquanid. Literally the worst case scenario for us. I say swap into my Alligator, and I'm met with a Lantern, so things are going from bad to worse here. Honestly, this was the very first battle I did with the team, and straight away I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I just can't be bothered right now. But let's still see if we have any play in this battle. We do at least force the opponent to use some of their energy. And as well, we can get a nice snarl farm down here. Unfortunately, not really getting too many fast moves through. I'm not going to come out with a Hurricane loaded. So I'm going to no shield to surf. I'm then going to swap out straight away into my Sableye, assuming they come back in with the Araquanid. And now they come in with a Razor Leaf Ludicolo, which isn't the worst matchup for me. But in the two shield scenario, unfortunately, I can only reach two moves here before they fully farm me down. But we're now going to go for Foul Play number 2. Foul Play going to be no shielded. And wait, I have one singular win condition, and that's if the opponent doesn't respect the damage here. We are absolutely full sending Hurricane. Hurricane not respected. It doesn't KO, but Shiftry gets the snarl farm down, and somehow I'm able to take that game. So there you go. Hurricane literally won me that first battle. We had no right in winning that game. But into the next battle, we're going to see a Jellicent in the lead. The opponent's going to say swap into a Murkrow looking to catch a charge move. Typically, they wall the energy, but not this time because Hurricane gets the one shot and the opponent just concedes the match. So, GG's to opponent there. Into the next battle, we see a Lucario in the lead. Again, not a very good matchup for me. Going to be safe swapping into my Sableye. Typically, I did use for Alligator as the safe swap. I think on like 1 or 2 occasions, I used Sableye. And here, we can grab a shield advantage. They're going to fire off a charge move. I should be able to live an Aqua Tail, so I'm going to no shield this. We have a second Foul Play loaded, but we get Dragon Breath farmed down before we can fire it off. That is actually how the game is supposed to function, so can't be too mad at that, but sometimes I would actually get damage registration error and get off the charge move. But either way, the opponent is actually going to reach yet another Arctown. Whilst I should be able to tank this, I don't trust that I could go for a charge move there, seeing that we just saw Arctown and then one Dragon Breath take us out previously. So if I'm up to back-to-back charge moves here, of course, Leaf Blade is resisted. The opponent should know that, but it's still going to deal decent damage, so I just have to hope that for Alligator can beat whatever's in the back. But honestly, for Alligator, it's fairly neutral into a lot of things here. It's never going to be able to win down a shield up against pretty much any Pokemon in this meta, especially not up against a Ludicolo, where Hydro Cannon is double resisted. I go for Ice Beam, it gets shielded, and so I just concede the match. But into the next battle here, we are going to see a Charm Shadow Gallade in the lead. And again, another Lantern here. So I have to say, I took a little bit of a break from battling in this cup because I was just bored of it. And in the past few days, it seems like Lantern is a lot more common. It seems like Araquanid is also a lot more common than it was when I last battled here. So not ideal for the Alligator, as of course, they can take me out very easily there. But we can now get a very aggressive farm down. And this time, you know what? I'm actually going to shield this just because Charm is going to do a lot of damage into both my remaining Pokemon. They actually swap back into that Gallade there. So we're going to fire off one Leaf Blade, and now I'm going to swap into my Shadow Sableye. Of course, I will have to shield here as the opponent can reach a Leaf Blade of their own, but then I can go for a full Shadow Claw farm down, and we actually don't take that much damage either. Now they come in with their final Pokemon, which is going to be a Kingdra. I'm going straight for Foul Play. Foul Play is going to be shielded, and the opponent cannot go for a Swift here. Swift is double resisted. We go for Foul Play. Foul Play. We're now going to swap, make a catch there. I didn't mean to do that. I was actually trying to throw a Leaf Blade, but they fire off the Swift. They swap, they try and make a catch there. We didn't have any energy, and they do reach a last-second charge move, but it is a double-resisted Swift. Sableye just barely tanking that, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top on there into next battle. Great lead for the Shadow Shiftry as we see a Lantern. They're going to say swap into a Rock Grenade, and we stay in just slightly too long there, and the Bug Bites absolutely shred through our HP. They're going to fire a Bubble Beam, and unfortunately, I don't think I can flip this matchup here unless the opponent doesn't want to use a single shield. Now, we go for Power Gem. That is the benefit to running Power Gem in this meta. Honestly, I just didn't have any charge DMs, so I wasn't going to try and get Dazzling Gleam, but either way, we actually do maintain alignment. That is huge for me, and now, of course, we can align Shiftry to the Lantern. We go for Foul Play. We are debuffed there. Still gets them into the other health range, but their final Pokemon is going to be Shadow for Alligator. Sorry, not Shadow for Alligator. That's my Pokemon. Their final Pokemon is going to be Shadow Annihilate, and unfortunately, because they go for the Rage Fist there, if I throw a charge move, I'm not going to reach a second one. They can go for a full counter farm down. And yeah, there's just not a lot I can do here. I can shield. I'm hoping with that Snarl damage, maybe we can go for a full Snarl farm down here. But no, we're not able to do so. We get a simultaneous KO. And unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's up on there into the next battle. We see more Peko in the lead. The opponent is going to be safe swapping into their own shiny Shadow Sableye. So I'm going to look to throw a charge move on the CMP tire here. Leaf Blade barely does not get the KO. That is so frustrating. I'm now going to shield, and they do full send a Dazzling Gleam, which is, I mean, good news for me that I shielded that, as of course that would one-shot me, but either way, not ideal for me in the slightest. And then I'm going to come in with a Murkrow, and this team is pretty weak to Murkrow, it has to be said. Of course, I've got a Shiftry, and then I've got two Pokemon that also have resisted fast food pressure as well. So I had built this team with the idea that we do have coverage up against Mandibuzz in the back with our two back Pokemon, even though they're not positive matchups, but actually really didn't see that many Mandibuzz at all. So I don't know if that's another thing as well. Mandibuzz less common in the meta now, but either way, they're going to come back in with the Morpeko. I'm going straight for Power Gem. Power Gem connects. It puts them into Shadow Claw farm down range. And now I'm going to swap into my Shiftry. I didn't throw a charge move here just because if I do that, the opponent can commit to a full farm down. But unfortunately, the opponent's still going to reach a second charge move anyways. And of course, Drill Peck easily takes out the Sableye. And unfortunately, I do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there into the next battle, and we have sort of shuffled around the team a little bit as we now have Nuzleaf. We are forming an ABB style backline there with Shiftry as our say swap and Nuzleaf as the closer. Now here, I'm actually just going to let this move go through. Leaf Blade will be taking me out. We can come in, get the Razor Leaf farm down, and let's see, the opponent's going to come in with a Kingdra. So honestly, not too bad for me, but they are very spammy with Swift. Nuzleaf, not the bulkiest Pokemon ever, so I'm going to shield the first charge move. I'm then going to fire off a Leaf Blade, and of course, Leaf Blade should be grabbing a shield or getting the KO. Now that they shield there, they are fairly low, so I'm actually going to shield this, and then I'm going to swap straight away into Shiftry, and the opponent's going to swap out as well, but they swap into Lantern, and that is looking great for me. I don't throw on the best timing, but it doesn't really matter. This is such a great matchup for the shiny Shadow Shiftry, especially with a little bit of chip damage from those Snarls. They full send a Thunderbolt. We are, I believe, one away still from back-to-back Leaf Blades, but Leaf Blade gets the KO, and we can fire off one more Snarl, just barely, reaching a second Leaf Blade here. Leaf Blade takes out the Kingdra, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top on there into the next battle to see Annihilate in the lead. So this is definitely where we want to see this Pokemon. We're just going to stay in, and we will fire off a Foul Play immediately. I do wait one turn just to make sure they don't try and make a catch there, but Foul Play is going to be shielded. At this point, I'm also going to match shields here. I don't know what they've got in the back, so might as well just play it safe. Of course, they have minimal fast food pressure. Unfortunately, I can't quite go for a full farm down, but I do go for Foul Play. Foul Play is going to get the KO, and they've got a Gastrodon in the back. Now, I was expecting it to be a Toxapex in the back, but it's going to be a Mandibuzz. Either way, we've got neutral play here as we full send the Hurricane, dealing decent damage, and the opponent is going to commit to a full farm down, but not before we reach a Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade is going to get them fairly low to the point where actually I can farm down with either the Shadow Sableye or the Shadow Nuzleaf. So I'm going to come back in with the Sableye. Of course, it doesn't have an amazing matchup up against the Gastrodon. Just going to no-shield this. Foul Play gets the KO there. We've still got a shield, so of course I'm going to use my final shield, and the opponent, they're in range where we can farm them down, so they actually swap back into their Gastrodon here. Of course, reaching a Body Slam. Body Slam is going to deal decent damage, but we can Razor Leaf farm them down. And can we Razor Leaf farm down the Mandibuzz? Yes, just barely able to do so, and so I'm able to take that game. So, GG top on there, into the next battle. We can see a Rockwind in the lead this time around, so definitely better to see it here. Still not that ideal for me. We are running Power Gem, maybe not expecting to see a Power Gem. Hopefully this does go no shielded, but they do end up shielding. I mean, I feel like that is just a safe play on their end, of course. They can just go for a Bubble Beam here, and I'm actually going to shield that because now I'll go for another Power Gem. Power Gem is going to be debuffed. It won't quite get the KO, but what it will do is actually, okay, force another shield here. Okay, that's not really ideal. Honestly, not really sure what to do at this point, so I'm going to no shield. Bubble Beam will KO. I wouldn't reach another charge sweep anyways. Now going to go for a Leaf Blade. We are taking so much damage from the Bug Bites here, but Leaf Blade still doesn't get the KO. We do get the snipe with the Nuzleaf, and they're going to have a Celio in the back. So at this point, I'm going to have to shield this as they will be firing off a Body Slam, and the opponent is eventually going to swap into a Sableye. Now, potentially, if I can put them into perfect Snarl farm down range to come out with a Leaf Blade, maybe we can win this game here, but it's going to be so close. The opponent goes for foul play straight away. We come in, but unfortunately, just 2 Snarls gets the farm down. If we left them with fractionally more HP there, maybe could have got the Snarl farm down in 3, come out with the Leaf Blade and won that game. But either way, GG's to that trainer. Into next battle, we're going to see more Pekko in the lead. The opponent's going to be coming in with a Charm Shadow Gallade. We're going for Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade will be shielded, and unfortunately, we barely hang on there, giving them slightly more energy. I guess it doesn't really make a difference because they're only going to reach 1 charge reef up against the Sableye anyways, and the opponent is going to be firing off that move right now. Of course, they're going to go for a Leaf Blade there. Leaf Blade grabs the shield. We can come in, get the Shadow Claw farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They come back in with the Morpeko, and I'm going straight for Power Gem. Now, Power Gem actually gets caught onto Galissapod. I literally did not see that swap at all. There was not even like the text saying that Galissapod came in either, so that was very surprising to me, which is why I swapped out there, whereas actually I probably could have just stayed in with the Sableye. Now we're in a slightly tricky situation, but we should be fine here. The opponent baits with a Seed Bomb, which is an interesting bait. Doesn't really help them that much because it still takes the same number of Thunder Shocks to reach the next Aura Wheel anyways. We get the Shadow Claw farm down, and I'm able to take that game. But GG's top on there, into the next battle, we see Murkrow in the lead. So Murkrow is really tricky for me now, especially since I don't have the Feraligatr. Instead, I've got a double grass backline. So what my play actually is I'm going to farm up to back-to-back foul plays here. And I'm happy to CMP tie the second one as well. Likely going to grab a shield anyways, and then I will swap into my Shiftry, because if I can force a CMP tie, I can then force this to be a 0-turn swap, meaning Shiftry will just barely by a single turn outpace this Murkrow to the Leaf Blade. And with the Shadow Claw damage, we have put them into range where Leaf Blade will KO. So Leaf Blade gonna be taking out the Murkrow, but they come in with Annihilate, and we don't get damage registration error. They're able to counter farm me all the way down. And yeah, I don't really know what to do here. So I'm going to come in with a Nuzleaf, just force them to hopefully full send a close combat. That would be ideal. And the opponent does exactly that. And now they're staying in with the Annihilate. Maybe Sableye can core break the backline. But no, it's a Charm Shadow Gallade, and we go for 1 Shadow Claw, which means they Charm farm me down. And unfortunately, I do lose that game. But GG's top there, into the next battle, we see Mandibuzz in the lead. So we're going to have to stay in this matchup. Of course, Power Gem is going to hit for super effective damage. It's not going to one-shot them by any means, but it will deal nice damage to the point where maybe we can get the KO with a foul play, but definitely not yet. So they're going to go and fire off their own foul play. I'm going to look to overfarm just slightly and fire off another foul play. Foul play is going to be shielded, and they do look to go and overfarm just slightly, but they're going to go for the foul play. Foul play doesn't KO, and now I swap into my Nuzleaf. The reason I come in with the Nuzleaf is because, well, I think it's kind of useless, so I'm actually just going to fully sacrifice it and then come in with my Shadow Shiftry. So yeah, Nuzleaf, of course, not doing ideal there. Honestly, I hate using Razor Leafers, but I mean, I've invested so many XL Candies and Stardust into this Nuzleaf, and it is best buddy boosted as well, so I want to try and use it when I can, but it would be ideal if it just learned something like Sucker Punch. But anyways, back to the battle. We one-shot the Gastrodon, and they've got more Pekko in the back. We fire off the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade grabs the final shield. We can go for another Leaf Blade here. Leaf Blade doesn't quite one-shot them, and I should be able to Snarl farm them down, but actually I won't need to do that because we've already got another Leaf Blade loaded, and of course, Leaf Blade will be enough damage up against the Morpeko from like 1 HP here to take out the Morpeko, and I'm able to take that game. Now, I have to say, maybe you might want to run Bullet Seed on the Shiftry just because I feel like in situations where the Bullet Seed damage is resisted, Snarl is also resisted as well, but there are a lot of Pokemon that resist Snarl that don't resist Bullet Seed, where even Bullet Seed might be super effective or even double super effective. So, potentially, if you do have a Shiftry with Bullet Seed, it is its Community Day move, so you might not want to use an Elite Fast TM, then maybe you could give it a try. But either way, we are full sending Hurricane. Hurricane is unfortunately respected by the Hakamoa. At this point, that's basically game over. I don't really know what I can do. I can shield, and you know what? We're only going to reach one more charge. We might as well full send another Hurricane, but if I baited with a Leaf Blade, potentially we get to several Leaf Blades, and we put them into range where we can Razor Leaf farm them down. But unfortunately, Nuzleaf it basically has an impossible task of taking out the Hakamoa here. Now, I don't expect them to throw back-to-back charge moves, even though they do have enough energy for it, but they do end up throwing straight away. I was going to go for one Razor Leaf and then swap out Look to catch the move. They full send a Dragon Claw, and of course, then come back in with a Lantern, get the Spark farm down, and unfortunately, I do lose that game. But GG's up on there, and heading into the final battle, I believe, leading into another Mana Buzz. So again, going to go for the Power Gem. I don't expect a shield here. Power Gem is going to deal decent damage, and the opponent is going to no shield. So that is ideal for me. They're going to throw just before we reach the foul play, but actually, we can tank this. It is an Aerial Ace, and now I am going to bait. I probably should just go for Power Gem because I don't think I reach another charge move anyways. And you can see, yeah, we actually don't reach another move there, so definitely should have just full sent the Power Gem. But either way, we're going to come in with the Nuzleaf, and this time I will shield because I have put them into range where I can Razor Leaf farm them all the way down. The opponent's going to come in with a Dugong, so I'm going to go straight for a Leaf Blade here, and then I should be swapping into my Shiftry, except I missed the swap, and now, because I missed it, I'm behind. I'm not going to outpace them. Now they can debuff my attack stat with the Icy Wind. That is really frustrating. Whether or not a Leaf Blade actually would have got the KO from that range, I don't really know. But either way, definitely not ideal for me. But they swap into Gastrodon as their final Pokemon. And again, we don't quite have back-to-back Leaf Blades here, but this will force the opponent to throw their energy straight away. And they're certainly in range, but a single Razor Leaf will take them out before they can get off the Ice Shard, which means I get the full farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. Now, if you want to take your support to the next level, you can become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments of every video. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has become a channel member already. Your support is greatly appreciated. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.